What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Mike from NYC, and we back another reaction today. We are watching why Dream Team 3 was better than the original Dream Team. I don't remember who was on Dream Team 3. I assume he's talking about Redeem Team or whatever. But yeah, let's see what he got to say.
The 1992 USA basketball team that played in the Olympic tournament in Barcelona is often considered the best basketball team of all time. When we look at the lineup, especially at the starting five, the best basketball team of all time. When we look,
why is Patrick Ewing looking at Michael Jordan like that? Like he really tired of this kid. Like, yo, if this dude eliminate me from the playoffs one more time, that's the energy. Like, yeah, I'm gonna sneak him one good time. I'm gonna get him one good time. You feel me? But yeah, you got all right. So you got 2 point guards. You got all right. He don't count. Tony or whoever this is don't count. So you got 2 point guards. You got MJ, Clyde. That's tough backcourt. Then you got Scotty and Larry and Chris Mullin as threes, and you got Barkley, Malone at power forwards, and then you have David Robinson and Patrick Ewing at center. So, all right.
Lineup, especially at the starting five, the Dream Team had an all-time great at every position, who was usually backed up by another all-time great. 11 of the 12 members of the original Dream Team are in the Hall of Fame, and 10 are selected as the 50 greatest NBA players. However, the USA basketball team that played in the '96 Olympics, dubbed the Dream Team 3, might be even better at some positions.
Is this what he's talking about? This team? Yeah, you're crazy. You're crazy if you think that. Yeah, you're crazy if you think that. You got an old Barkley, an older Karl Malone. Like you have Shaq and Hakeem, so you might be better at center, but every other spot is worse. You didn't have prime Larry Bird, but point guard is better. You gotta, in my opinion, point guard is better. Shooting guard is obviously better. Who's even a shooting guard? Who's a shooting guard? Reggie? MJ and Clyde are both better than Reggie. The only spot you really got is center, because Barkley and Malone are just worse versions of who they were before. So you got better point guards, because the point guards, you got older John Stockton and Gary Payton versus Magic Johnson and John Stockton. So point guard is better, shooting guard is better. I would say small forward is better just off of the, I don't know. I would say small forward is better because you have a younger Scotty, and then you have Larry Bird, who was old, but I don't know. Would I take an older Larry Bird over? Nah, Larry Bird was already like injured, so I guess we'll give them small forward. But the all they got is small forward barely, and then center. But they stacked that center though. I can't even lie.
Played in the '96 Olympics, dubbed the Dream Team 3, might be even better at some positions, but mainly remains in shadow of the original Dream Team. This is a controversial topic, and a fantasy scenario that has a premise in some subjective opinions. Still, we'll try to be as objective as possible, and try to explain why the Dream Team 3 might defeat the Barcelona Dream Team if they played in a simulated best-of-7 series. Younger and more athletic. While the original Dream Team had all the big names, the Dream Team 3 was younger and more athletic. If we're talking about who had a better career, I'd definitely choose Larry Bird and Magic Johnson over Grant Hill and Penny Hardaway. Right. However, in '92, Bird had spent more time nursing his ailing back on the sidelines than he played on the court. And his time in Barcelona was his last hurrah as a player, considering he retired from the NBA that year. The same is true for Magic, who retired in 1991 due to the HIV diagnosis, and didn't even play in the year before the Olympics. In 1996, Penny Hardaway was in his prime, and was a 6'7" combo guard who could do everything, and who just came off the best year of his career, averaging 21.7 points on 51% shooting, with 7.1 assists, 4.3 rebounds, and 2 steals. If you consider that the second point guard on the '96 team was Gary Payton, who had just been to the NBA Finals and won the Defensive Player of the rookie year, then the Dream Team 3 was clearly superior at the point guard position. The 96 team also had prime Grant Hill, the small forward extraordinaire, who was one of the best NBA players before injuries derailed his prime. In the season before the Olympics, Hill was averaging 20 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 6.9 assists. If we compare him to Larry Bird's 92 season, the numbers were similar, but Larry was barely holding up health-wise, and would get killed by Grant Hill if he had to guard him one-on-one. Sure, Hill didn't have Bird's panache and shooting touch, but I'd still rather have a fast and athletic guy over the man who had to go through 2 hours of stretching massages to be able to play. Shaq over Leitner, and the best center lineup ever. Shaq was supposed to be on the original Dream Team because he was the most dominant big man in college, and his big personality would fit in right with the other superstars on the squad. Christian Leitner won the Collegiate Player of the Year award with back-to-back NCAA titles, and had a respectable NBA career. But he was no Shaq, and was nowhere near Diesel's athletic abilities. Still, Leitner was the one who went to Barcelona with MJ, Magic, and the rest of the NBA stars, and O'Neal had to wait 4 years for his turn. When that time came, Shaq had built himself quite a resume. Before the 96 Olympics, Diesel had already been to the NBA Finals, led the league in scoring, and was just entering the prime of his career. Backing up Shaq and 1995 NBA MVP David Robinson was none other than Hakeem Olajuwon, who might be the most skilled center ever. And when the two-time Finals MVP Hakeem is your third center, your team has the best center lineup ever. 5 players from the Dream Team were on the 96 team. When you're making these kinds of comparisons, you have to realize it's a fantasy scenario, and a matchup that would only exist in a video game.
Right.
The most obvious reason for it, in this case, is because of the 5-player overlap from the Dream Team that we're also playing in Atlanta. When we compare these 5 players' form and success in 92 compared to 96, the results are pretty much even. Scottie Pippen was a dog in 92, but was arguably even better in 96, and just came off 72 wins and a title with the Bulls. Charles Barkley was the best player of the whole tournament in Barcelona, and the leading scorer on the USA team, with 18 points per game. In Atlanta, he led the USA team again, this time with 12.4 points per game, but on 81% shooting, as he took less than 6 shots per game. John Stockton and Karl Malone were getting up there in age, but after 96, they played their best basketball and went to 2 consecutive NBA Finals. And finally, David Robinson was still in his prime, 1 year removed from an MVP season in 1995, with almost identical numbers in 96 compared to 1992. If we played 2K and plugged in these 5 players against themselves 4 years earlier, the results would likely be tied, as all players were still in their prime. But the 92 team had Jordan.
Right.
And while the arguments for the Dream Team 3 piled up so far...
MJ. You can say all that, you feel me? But we got MJ. You feel me? So it don't really matter.
We have to...
Not we, but making the case for 92. Like, if I were to make the case for 92, I'd be like, yeah, I feel you, but we got MJ.
Address the elephant in the room. And that elephant is the best player of the 90s, and arguably the best of all time. Yes, the original Dream Team had Jordan, who had just climbed over the mountain, became a back-to-back champion, and was widely recognized as the world's best player. Jordan's presence alone can keep any team within striking distance in any game, let alone in one where he is flanked by prime Charles Barkley, Clyde Drexler, and other members of the Dream Team. However, the 96 team had enough tall and athletic players to make life difficult for MJ. Gary Payton showed what he could do against Mike in the 96 finals, where he slowed Jordan down to 27 points on 41% shooting in the series, while he himself had 18, 6, and 7 on 44% shooting. And then there were also 6'7" Penny Hardaway, Grant Hill, and Scottie Pippen, who would spend the majority of the time guarding Mike in this fantasy game, and make Mr. Air work extremely hard for his points. And while Mike clearly has to get the advantage at the shooting guard position, it wasn't by such a wide margin. Dream Team 3 had Reggie Miller and Mitch Richmond at shooting guard, who were the best shooters in the NBA at the time. In 1996, Richmond averaged 23 points per game and was 4th in the league in made threes on 44% accuracy. Reggie was averaging 21 points per game and had made 41% of his three-pointers and had never backed down from Jordan in his life. So it's fair to say the 96 team would have plenty of firepower at shooting guard to combat MJ, Drexler, and Mullen. Still, it's the only position...
Nah, that's crazy, though. Clyde and MJ are blowing them two out, though.
...where the Dream Team would have a clear advantage. The verdict. It's hard to compare eras, and it's hard to compare different Olympic teams. But these fantasy 2K scenarios are always fun to speculate. And we felt the Dream Team 3 was never getting their due respect. Atlanta Dream Team was extremely dominant and crushed their opponents by the average of 32 points per game on their way to the Olympic gold. All 12 players were all-NBA selections in the 1996 NBA season, and all of them were still in their athletic prime. Certainly, there are plenty of people who will disagree with this take and say that the original Dream Team was the best and most dominant team ever, and that's okay. I respect your opinion, and it very well might be the case. However, if the 96 team squared off against the OGs from 92, I bet it would be a lot closer than people think. If the game was played under the NBA rules, and not the FIBA rules, where smaller dimensions of the court would benefit the likes of older Magic and Bird, I believe the 96 team would have an advantage. Of course, we'll never know what would really happen, but I think the best center lineup ever, faster players, combined with some of the all-time great shooters of the 96 team, could prevail in a 7-game series against Jordan and company. We know Shaq agrees with this. Let us know if you do too.
These thumbnails are glossy, bro. I would say, I mean, he's made some good points, but I would still take the original Dream Team. I don't know, though. Like, I really feel like it's mainly because of Jordan. Mainly because of Jordan. I think centers, they can hold up. Power forward, I would say Karl Malone in 1992 is better than Karl Malone in 1996, slightly. And I would say the same for Charles Barkley. I would take a if you matching up Gary Payton and Magic, I would take Magic Johnson. Even an older Magic Johnson. Like, I just think I would take Magic off of intangibles. I would say Scotty in 92 was better than the one in 96. I just think, yeah, that's just what I believe. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what else you want me to react to. Definitely like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you when I see it. Peace.